I work at a consulting firm in Stockholm. An American executive arrived for our quarterly review meeting 15 minutes late, walked past our scheduled fika break without acknowledging it, and sat down at the head of the table. We don't have a head of the table. Our CEO was sitting in the middle. The American smiled and said, "All right team, let's make this quick. I've got a 2 p.m. flight." It was 9:45 a.m. Our meeting was scheduled until 4 p.m. for consensus building. He opened his laptop and started typing. "So who's running this thing? Let's get the PowerPoint going." Our senior analyst explained we don't use hierarchical presentations, everyone contributes equally. He laughed. Right. Very Swedish. But seriously, who's the decision maker here? I need to know who to convince. Our CEO raised her hand slightly. We make decisions through consensus. Everyone here has equal input. He stared at her. Yeah, but who signs off? You? Great. You and me, let's grab lunch and hash this out. We can skip the committee stuff. She politely explained that skipping the group process would mean no decision at all. He leaned back and sighed. This is why Europe takes forever to innovate. Then he opened his phone and started responding to emails while our analyst was presenting 6 weeks of research. When we paused for our scheduled fika break at 10:30, he said, "We're taking a coffee break. We just started." I informed him fika is built into Swedish work culture. "Coffee breaks are literally in your employment contracts?" he asked. "That's adorable. In America, we just mainline espresso at our desks." He didn't join us for fika. Later, someone mentioned that the person who skips fika all the time gets viewed with suspicion. He never came back for a second meeting. We reached consensus without him. 3 more Americans who thought European meetings were just slow versions of American ones. I coordinate meetings at a Dutch tech company in Amsterdam. An American VP flew in for a product launch discussion. He entered the conference room and immediately asked, "Who's the boss here?" Everyone looked at each other. I explained we have a flat hierarchy. He forced a smile. Right. Flat structure. Very modern. But like, who makes the final call? I told him we reach decisions through consensus. All 8 people in the room contribute equally. His smile faded. All 8? That's gonna take forever. Can't we just vote? I explained voting isn't how we operate. We discuss until everyone agrees or at least accepts the direction. He checked his watch. The meeting was scheduled for 3 hours. 3 hours for one decision? In New York, I'd make this call in 15 minutes. Our junior designer, who'd been with us for 3 months, raised a concern about the user interface. The American interrupted her. Okay, noted. Let's move on. I stopped him. She hasn't finished. He looked confused. She gave her input. I acknowledged it. We're good. I clarified that in Dutch culture, everyone's point gets fully discussed. He shifted in his seat. 2 hours in, we'd covered everyone's perspectives but hadn't reached consensus. He stood up. Look, I appreciate the democracy thing, but I've got dinner plans. Let's just do A or B show of hands. I reminded him we don't vote. He threw his hands up. This is insane. You people spend 3 hours talking in circles. In America, the boss decides and we execute. That's how you move fast. Our CEO, who'd been silent the whole time, spoke up. We move fast after we decide. Because everyone bought in during this process. He sat back down, frustrated. We reached consensus 20 minutes later. He missed his dinner. The product launched ahead of schedule because nobody had to be convinced during implementation. He later told colleagues in New York that Dutch meetings were ungoverned chaos where interns question executives. The intern was our lead engineer. She had a PhD. I'm an executive assistant at a Paris investment firm. An American partner joined us for a merger discussion. He walked in wearing khakis and a polo shirt. Everyone else wore dark suits. He didn't notice. When our director introduced himself as Monsieur Beaumont, the American said, "Hey, I'm Mike. Nice to meet you," and stuck out his hand for an enthusiastic shake. Monsieur Beaumont offered a brief, light handshake and took his seat. Mike tried small talk. "So, Paris. I love this city. Hit up the Eiffel Tower yesterday. You been?" Monsieur Beaumont looked puzzled. "I live here." Mike laughed. "Right, dumb question. You probably don't do the touristy stuff." He kept talking. "Anyway, let's dive in. I've got some ideas that'll blow your mind." Monsieur Beaumont opened the meeting with a formal overview, speaking in French. Mike didn't understand. After 2 minutes, he interrupted. "Hey, Beaumont, anyone speak English here?" Our director replied in English. "I am speaking English now. In France, we begin in French as courtesy." Mike waved it off. "Totally get it, but let's keep it in English so I can actually contribute, yeah?" The meeting proceeded. Mike interrupted constantly. "Hold on, let me jump in here. Quick thought. Can I just say something?" In American culture, this shows engagement. In French culture, this shows disrespect. After his fourth interruption, Monsieur Beaumont said coolly, "Monsieur, we finish thoughts before responding." Mike didn't understand the rebuke. "Yeah, totally. I'm just adding value." He missed every social cue. He called everyone by first names. He skipped the formal pleasantries before business discussion. He suggested they grab drinks after and really get to know each other. When the meeting ended with no decision, French decisions take multiple meetings, Mike said. "So what did we accomplish here? I feel like we just talked for 2 hours and decided nothing." Monsieur Beaumont replied, "We established mutual understanding. The foundation for decisions." Mike shook his head. "In America, we decide in the room. That's efficiency." He sent a follow-up email addressing Monsieur Beaumont as Beaumont with no title. The merger didn't happen. Mike told his firm the French were too formal and couldn't make quick decisions. Monsieur Beaumont told colleagues the American was missing all necessary refinement for serious business. "I'm a project manager at a Swedish pharmaceutical company in Uppsala. An American consultant joined our team for a 6-month project. First meeting, he arrived and said, 'Where's your manager? I need to know who I'm reporting to.' I explained we don't have traditional hierarchy." He smiled. "Yeah, I read about Swedish flat structures. Super interesting. But like, for real, who do I send my reports to?" I said, "The team." He looked around the table. "The whole team? That's 8 people." I confirmed yes. He shrugged. "Okay, I guess I'll just email everyone?" 3 weeks in, he called a quick decision meeting. He presented a proposal and said, "I think this is the right move. Anyone disagree?" 2 people had concerns. He said, "Okay, I hear you, but I really think we should do this. Can we agree?" They repeated their concerns. He grew frustrated. "Look, we could spend 3 hours debating this, or I could just make the call. I'm the expert you hired." Our team lead said gently, "We hired you to contribute, not decide alone." He argued that in American consulting, the expert's recommendation carries weight. "You're paying me for my opinion. That opinion is we do this." We explained paying for his opinion doesn't mean automatically accepting it. His opinion enters the consensus process. He found this baffling. "So I'm an expert, but I have the same vote as someone who joined last month?" We clarified we don't vote. We discuss. He threw his hands up. "This is why Sweden isn't producing unicorns like Silicon Valley. You're too afraid to let someone just lead." Our team lead, who'd founded 2 successful startups, didn't respond. By month 4, he started making decisions without the team. Small things, then bigger things. When confronted, he said, "Someone has to move this forward. You guys just talk forever." We reminded him our process works. He said, maybe for Swedes, but I'm used to results. He left after 5 months. Said the work environment was too passive and leaderless. The project finished on time without him. His replacement, who was also American, adapted to consensus within 2 weeks and said it was the most efficient process I've ever seen once you understand it. The first consultant told colleagues back home that Sweden had no idea how to make decisive business moves. He couldn't name a single decision we'd made incorrectly. I work for a manufacturing firm in Munich. An American sales director visited to pitch a partnership. We sent him the meeting agenda 2 weeks in advance, a detailed, minute-by-minute schedule covering introductions, background, proposal discussion, technical questions, and next step. Total time, 2 hours. He sent a one-line reply, "Got it." The meeting started at 9 a.m. sharp. Everyone was seated at 8:58. He arrived at 9:07. In Germany, this is late. He didn't apologize. Traffic was crazy. He sat down and pulled out his laptop. Our managing director began with the scheduled introductions. The American interrupted. "Hey, I actually have a hard stop at 10:30, so can we skip the intros and jump to the pitch?" Our director looked at his watch. The agenda allows for proposal discussion from 9:15 to 9:50. The American waved this off. "Yeah, I saw that, but honestly, agendas are more like guidelines, right? Let's just be flexible." In Germany, agendas are not guidelines. Our director continued with introductions. The American checked his phone. When we reached the proposal section, he launched into his pitch. It was completely different from what he'd submitted beforehand. Our technical lead raised her hand. "Excuse me, but this is not the proposal we reviewed." He grinned. "Yeah, I tweaked it last night. Had some better ideas." She looked at our director. In German business culture, changing proposals without notice is unacceptable. The director said, "We prepared questions based on your submitted proposal. We cannot evaluate this new version." The American looked shocked. "You're kidding. This is better than what I sent. Just go with it." Our director repeated that we'd need to review the new proposal and reschedule. The American couldn't believe it. "You're saying we can't have a conversation because I improved my pitch? In America, we'd call that initiative." The director explained that in Germany, preparation and structure enable productive meetings. Surprises waste time. The American got frustrated. "This is ridiculous. You're rejecting a better idea because it doesn't fit your precious schedule." He stood up. "You know what? This is exactly why German companies are slower than American ones. You're more worried about your agenda than actual results." He left. We never rescheduled. He told his company that Germans were inflexible and obsessed with bureaucracy. We told ours he was unprofessional and unprepared. I managed communications for a Finnish energy company in Helsinki. An American marketing executive joined a strategy meeting via video call. 15 people in the room. The meeting opened with our CEO presenting quarterly result. Silent attention for 12 minutes. Then she asked, "Thoughts?" Silence. In Finland, people think before speaking. After 30 seconds, the American unmuted. Hello? Anyone there?" Our CEO said, "Yes, we're considering the information." He laughed nervously. "Okay, cool. I'll just jump in then. I think we should." Our head of operations raised his hand. The American stopped. The operations head spoke for 90 seconds, then went quiet. Silence again. The American unmuted. "So, are we waiting for something?" Our CEO said, "We're reflecting on what was said." Another 30 seconds of silence. He couldn't take it. "Guys, I don't want to be rude, but this is really weird. In America, we just talk. It's a conversation." Our CEO explained that Finnish business culture values thoughtful response over immediate reaction. He tried to adapt. Someone made a point. Silence. He waited 10 seconds, then started speaking. Two people had been about to respond. He jumped in too early. This happened 4 times. Finally he said, "I'm sorry, but I can't read minds through a screen. Can someone just tell me when it's okay to talk?" Our CEO suggested he wait until someone invites his input. He found this frustrating. "So I'm just supposed to sit here silently until someone says, 'Hey American guy, you can talk now?'" she said, "or wait until the silence feels complete." He muted himself and typed in the chat, "This is the most unproductive meeting I've ever been in." Our head of operations saw the message and said aloud, "Silence is not unproductive. Silence is thinking." The American dropped off the call 20 minutes later. "Technical difficulties," he said. The meeting continued for another hour. We made 3 major strategic decisions. He later told colleagues that Finnish meetings were awkward silence where no one wants to speak, and that he couldn't get anyone to engage. We decided not to include him in future meetings. Not because he was American, but because he couldn't stop talking long enough to let anyone else contribute. His replacement was also American. She adapted within 1 meeting. She later said Finnish silence was the most respectful listening culture she'd ever experienced. "I'm an engineer at a Norwegian software company in Oslo. An American CTO joined us as an advisor for 3 months. First day, he asked to see the org chart. I pulled it up, completely flat under the CEO. He zoomed in. Wait, where are the middle managers? I explained we don't really have them. He scrolled through. So, like, who do the developers report to? I said, the team. He looked at me. Which team? I said, their team. He grew more confused. Okay, but who assigns their work? I explained we self-organize. Teams decide their priorities based on company goals. He shook his head slowly. Doesn't that create chaos? Who's accountable? I said everyone's accountable. He didn't buy it. In every company I've worked at, there's a chain of command. Someone responsible for results. I told him our CEO is ultimately responsible, but teams own their outcomes. He spent the first week trying to find the real structure. He'd ask developers, who's really in charge? They'd point to their team lead. What power does the team lead have? None really. Just facilitation. He couldn't compute it. So the lead can't fire anyone, can't assign work, can't make final decisions? Correct. Then what's the point? Second week, a conflict arose between two teams about resource allocation. He saw this as his moment. See? This is why you need hierarchy. Someone has to make the call. Our CEO said, they'll work it out. He insisted, they've been discussing this for 3 days. Just decide for them. She said, they're close to consensus. He argued that 3 days of discussion was wasted time. In America, I'd make this decision in 5 minutes. She asked, would both teams accept your decision? He paused. They'd have to. She said, here, they don't have to. So we wait for agreement. The teams reached consensus the next day. Both were happy. He admitted it worked but still thought it was inefficient. Third month, he tried to introduce accountability structures. He proposed team leads should have authority to override decisions. Our CEO declined. He proposed individual performance reviews where managers rate employees. We already do peer reviews. He proposed a VP layer between CEO and teams. She asked why. To make decisions faster. She said, we make decisions fast. After everyone agrees. He left after 3 months, convinced Norwegian companies were well-meaning but structurally unsound. He told colleagues our flat structure was why Norway doesn't have a Google. Someone reminded him we have Telenor. He said, exactly. You've heard of it, but it's not Google. Nobody knew how to respond to that. I'm a conference organizer in Brussels. Last year, we hosted a European American Business Summit. The final panel was about transatlantic management styles. One American panelist, a CEO from Boston, said, "I think the biggest difference is speed. In America, we move fast and ask questions later. In Europe, you ask all the questions first, then maybe move." A German panelist responded, "We move at the same speed. We simply do not have to retrace our steps." The American laughed. "Fair point. But don't you think all the consensus building slows you down?" A Dutch panelist jumped in. "Only if you think implementation is separate from decision-making. When everyone agrees beforehand, implementation is faster. Your way, you decide fast but spend months convincing people after." The American considered this. I never thought about it like that." The Swedish panelist added, "Americans see our flat structures as slow. We see your hierarchies as bottlenecks." The French panelist said, "You see our formality as stiff. We see your informality as lack of seriousness." The Finnish panelist said simply, "You talk too much." Everyone laughed. The American CEO said, "Okay, so we're all right and all wrong." The Norwegian panelist said, "Or we just have different priorities. You optimize for individual decisiveness. We optimize for collective buy-in." The American nodded. "And both work." The German said, "Both work. In different contexts." The American smiled. "So when I come to Europe, I should just slow down and listen more?" The Dutch panelist said, "That would help." The audience, half American, half European, applauded. After the panel, I watched them all go to dinner together. The American CEO pulled out his phone to take a selfie with everyone. The French panelist politely declined. The Swedish panelist suggested they just enjoy the meal. The Finnish panelist said nothing but smiled. The Dutch panelist said, "Can we order first?" The Norwegian panelist said, "Why is the American standing?" The German panelist checked the reservation time. They figured it out eventually. The cultural gaps are real. But so is the learning. Stay tuned for more stories where American confidence meets European process, and both sides discover they might not know everything after all.